Welcome to Steady Growth, where we build money, character, and resilience the same way. Small, steady, and on purpose. No hype, just honest steps that add up. Let's begin.
Picture the homework table. Your kid has been sitting there for 40 minutes. And in those 40 minutes, they have written exactly 3 words. They sharpened 2 pencils, they needed water, then a different chair, then they discovered a genuinely fascinating ceiling. And from the doorway, you are running the usual diagnosis. Lazy, defiant, doesn't care. But watch closely, because here is what is almost always actually happening. They are not avoiding the work, they are avoiding the start. From where they sit, that worksheet is not 10 small problems. It is one enormous wall called the whole assignment. And their brain, doing exactly what brains do with walls, is finding anywhere else on Earth to look. And before we feel too superior in that doorway, you know this wall. Personally. It is the email you have rewritten in your head for a week and never opened. The phone call you will make after lunch for the 4th day running. The garage, the form, the workout clothes you actually put on and then somehow didn't. The wall is the same wall at 7 and at 47. Tasks are hardest at the very front, and the front is exactly where we stall. So tonight I want to hand you, and your kid, the simplest tool I know for getting over that wall. It takes 2 minutes, literally 2. Here is the strange physics of effort that nobody ever teaches us. Picture a hill with a steep little cliff right at the very front, and then a long, gentle, easy slope after it. That cliff is starting. The slope is continuing. We assume a task's difficulty is spread evenly across it. An hour of homework is 60 equal minutes of unpleasantness. But that is not how it feels from the inside. And you can check this against your whole life. The dread lives almost entirely at the front, at the cliff. Before you start, the task exists only as a looming whole. Every problem at once, every possible snag, all of it abstract and so all of it heavy. Chemists have a name for that front-loaded cost: activation energy. The boulder at the base of the cliff needs one good shove before it will roll on its own. And here's the kind part. The dread is usually a liar about size, too. Think how many times you finally did the dreaded thing and thought, that took 11 minutes. I avoided it for 9 days. The thing was small all along. The wall in front of it just made it look like a mountain. Then comes the lovely part, the downhill. Once a task is begun, it starts generating its own pull. A started but unfinished thing tugs at your attention. The brain wants to close the loop it just opened. And momentum is real. The second math problem is easier than the first. The third sentence comes easier than the second. Which brings us to the single most useful inversion in all of behavior, so let me say it slowly. Motivation does not produce action. Action produces motivation. We sit around waiting to feel like starting, but the feeling is on the far side of the start. You do not wait for the boulder to feel rolly, you shove. So here's the tool, the 2-minute rule. The deal you make with your kid or with yourself is this. You do not have to do the assignment. You do not have to do the workout, the email, the garage. You just have to do 2 minutes of it. 2 honest minutes. Timer running, actually engaged, and when it rings, you have full, genuine permission to stop. That permission is not a trick, and this part matters enormously. It has to be real, especially with a child, because the entire power of the rule comes from how it shrinks the wall. Do your homework is a boulder, and a 7-year-old's brain flinches and flees. Do 2 minutes of homework is a pebble. Nobody on Earth is intimidated by 2 minutes. It is shorter than a song. So the start, the only genuinely hard part, becomes cheap enough to afford even on a tired day. And then the downhill physics take over. Most of the time,
Most, not all. The timer rings and the kid waves it off because they are mid-problem now. The loop is open, the boulder is rolling, and honestly, stopping feels weirder than just continuing. But here is the parenting move that makes or breaks the whole thing. When they do stop at 2 minutes, you celebrate anyway. You started. That was the hard part. High five. Because the day you punish the stop is the day the permission dies and the rule dies with it. You are not teaching task completion tonight. You are teaching something far rarer and far more lasting, that starting is a skill, that it is small, that it can be practiced, and that they own it. A kid who learns at 7 that beginning is just 2 honest minutes carries that quietly into every hard thing at 20 and 40 and beyond. Now, point that same tool at the place we adults stall hardest: money. Because here's a quiet truth about financial procrastination. Most of the money tasks you've been avoiding are 2-minute tasks wearing scary costumes. Checking the account balance you've been dreading? 90 seconds. And the dread of looking is almost always worse than the actual number. And if the number does sting, well, you cannot steer what you will not look at. Moving $20 over to savings? 40 seconds. Opening the page about the kid's college account? Not funding it, not deciding anything, just looking. 2 minutes. Canceling the subscription, photographing the receipt, scheduling the one bill? None of these are hard. They are avoided, which is a completely different thing, because each one sits at the front of something that feels enormous. The finances, the future, the whole mess. The 2-minute rule snips the small task free from the enormity. You are not sorting out your financial life tonight. You are checking one balance, timer running, full permission to stop. And money tasks have a glorious bonus the homework table does not. Many of them are simply complete at 2 minutes. The balance is checked, the 20 is moved, the subscription is dead. Stack a handful of those across a season, and something quietly wonderful happens. The person who can't deal with money stuff becomes a person who handles money stuff, 2 minutes at a time, without ever once feeling like they did something hard. Now, let me be straight with you, the way a friend would, because this little rule does have limits, and they are worth naming. First, it is a starting tool, not a finishing tool. 2 minutes gets the boulder rolling. It does not pave the road. Big projects still need real plans. Homework still needs time. The habit of starting pairs with the routines and systems we have talked about in other episodes. It does not replace them. This rule is the ignition. Those are the engine. Second, if 2 minutes never catches, if your child does the 2 minutes, stops every single time, and starts dreading even the pebble, that is information, not failure. Maybe the work is genuinely too hard, and what looks like procrastination is a kid quietly protecting themselves from feeling incapable. That is a skill conversation, not a willpower one. Maybe it is too boring, or too long, or the room is wrong. Chronic, painful stalling in kids and in adults sometimes has deeper roots. Attention differences, anxiety, perfectionism that turns every start into an audition. The rule is a beautiful first response. It is not a cure-all. And try harder at starting is the wrong medicine for some struggles. And third, gently, for the grown-ups in the room, do not weaponize it. The 2-minute rule offered as a warm little game changes lives. The 2-minute rule deployed as a gotcha, well, it's only 2 minutes, is just nagging with a stopwatch. The permission to stop is the soul of the thing. Guard it. So here's the whole thing to carry into tonight's homework table and tomorrow's inbox. The wall between your family and all its undone things was never as thick as it looked. It was 2 minutes thick all along, and everything behind it is downhill. So make the deal out loud. 2 honest minutes, then full permission to stop. Honor that permission like it is sacred. Celebrate the starts louder than the finishes, and let momentum, the most underrated force in all of family life, do what it has always done the moment someone finally shoves the boulder. Run your own list, too. The balance, the transfer, the form, the call, 2 minutes each, costumes off. And picture the homework table one more time. Only now the timer behind your kid rang a while ago and they never even noticed. Pencil moving, mid-problem, the wall gone because it turned out the wall was only ever 2 minutes thick. So when your kid pushes back tonight with, "But I don't feel like starting," you will have the answer this whole episode was built around, the one inversion worth taping to the fridge. Nobody feels like starting. The feeling comes after. 2 minutes. Just begin and let beginning do the rest. If something here was useful today, the best thing you can do is use it tonight in one small way. And if you'd like to keep growing with us, you're welcome in our tribe at familycreative.org. It's where we gather the tools and resources we build for people doing this on purpose, and where you can learn more, share what's working, and help someone a few steps behind you. That's the whole point. Small, steady, together. Be kind, try hard, do the work, build the family. We'll see you in the next one.